Welcome in, everybody, to Extreme Radio, presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. Look at their new website and request your appointment online. Mention you're with 8-Man Extreme. You get $20 off your new patient office visit fee. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Sponsored by Dr. Sterling Foster. Go to drsterlingfoster.com for all your digestive issues and chiropractic needs.
Boy, I got some digestive issues after the Mexicanite this afternoon. I need some of that. Hey, guess what won't give you digestive issues if you don't eat too much of it? That's Jet's Pizza.
If you don't eat too much of it,
I just said
there.
if you don't eat too much of
That's
it.
why I was saying it's
Jet's
a key word.
Pizza. Hey, listen. No matter where you are, specifically Springfield, Clarksville, Fort Campbell, coming soon to Goatsville, but no matter where you are, it's always a great time to say, let's get Jets. Just remember, don't eat too much of it, or you will have to check out drsterlingfoster.com. And then when you're done with all that, you're going to need insurance. Guess what? I needed insurance on my vehicle this weekend with the traveling we did. 15 hours of driving, needed insurance, so guess what? Had to give my buddy Joe Graves a check out. Had to hit him up, see what he could do. That's all I'm asking. Just give him a chance. See what he can do. IHateBuyingInsurance.com's website. If you cannot remember that, how are you functioning in life if you can't remember something like IHateBuyingInsurance.com? Super easy. Our buddy Joe Graves, go check him out. And yeah, there you go.
You slept for 13 hours straight yesterday after the all-nighter you essentially
I don't mention that. Hey,
you
listen, when you stay up for 36 hours straight with a little 40-minute nap in the middle, yeah, you sleep a little bit afterwards. It happens, though, for the brand,
exactly.
for the boys.
Even though it was a non-loaded weekend in terms of 8-man football in Tennessee.
Oh, we're always grinding.
Yeah, we're always going at the grind for giving 8-man.
So weird to hear you say for the grind. Going for the grind.
Yeah.
It's like.
So again, Bowling Green, South Haven, Lighthouse, Christian Community, Riverside, Ezel, Franklin Christian, Franklin Classical, Lancaster Christian, and not St. Andrew Swanee. All those teams on a bye. And Friday night, you decided, you know what? I don't want to sit at home. I want to do a game out of the state. And I think you have the rest of the story.
Well, it was 8-0 Russell against 7-1 Ezekiel. There were two teams that had – or I'm sorry. Nope, that's the wrong standings. I'm thinking about the standings for this Friday's game. It was Russell at 8-0. Ezekiel was 7-1. They'd played earlier at Russell in Mississippi. Russell won the game 30-0. So this week they were returning the favor. And a young man named Austin Devon, a junior quarterback and DB, absolutely tore it up for the Knights. It was actually a pretty good game at the half. It was 21-13, just back and forth. Plenty of kicking, so I was good. I was straight. But big shout-out to Ezekiel Academy and their staff, the coaches. Everyone was fantastic. It would have been more fantastic if I remembered the laptop. I got a nice little phone call once we hit Huntsville. It was like, hey, he didn't grab it. So that didn't work out very well. But great time checking out the game, hanging out with Mr. Matthew Bowden, and have a little road trip with him. Got back about 3 o'clock after dropping him off, and then just kind of chilled and took a nap, picked Spencer up, and headed to Knoxville for our big Tennessee School for the Deaf, Florida School for the Deaf game. So it was a lot of fun. It was fun. It was exhausting, but it was well worth it.
No games on Friday for the state of Tennessee in 8-man football, but 2 games on Saturday for the state of Tennessee in 8-man football. Start off with the game that we broadcast since this is in chronological order. 58-12, the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind got the victory on the road. The Vikings, of course, you have the story more on that. They were out one of their star players in this game, which showed it was a crucial impact in their game against the Dragons. Really good uniforms from both teams, a really decent game. And
hot uniforms.
As usual, great atmosphere to go up to Knoxville, and kudos to the Dragons for vanquishing the Vikings.
Some hot uniform matchups, helmet matchups. Young man named Jerry Williams had some fantastic plays. I mean, there was one a QB sneak. I think the ball was on like the 4th down. Tried it up the middle. There was nothing. Looked like he was down. Bounced to the outside and scored. And so that kind of kept him in the game early on. But Florida able to pull away. A couple of their star players had a really good game. So big win for Florida. For Tennessee, they wrap up the season on Thursday night. We'll talk about that coming up. But big win for Florida. TSD always have a blast going up to Knoxville and having fun with them. Here's some fun stats, Spencer. Not only both times have we gone up to Knoxville to do a Tennessee School for the Deaf game, not only has Tennessee won both times, but you know what else is fantastic? That's even better than Tennessee winning both times?
What's that?
Georgia has lost at home both times. They lost to South Carolina yesterday at home, which made me tickle pink. And then 3 years ago, Tennessee beat them at Georgia. So I was a happy, happy man even with all the traveling yesterday.
And
it was good stuff.
Even with the loss for the Vikings. And again, you know, with Lorenzo Curry was out with bruised ribs.
He was, yeah. That was huge for them. You could definitely tell he was injured, but all the best to the young man. Another guy I want to give a shout-out to, Tristan Davidson. Just fantastic defensive play. And, I mean, they've got some dudes up there, and they're only losing – I think they're losing Davidson and one other guy. So they've got a whole mess of juniors that could really cause some teams some problems.
Yeah, it could be crucial, especially in 5 days. The Vikings face off against the Tennessee Heat at home, even though it's on a Thursday and they don't have to travel as much, hoping that Lorenzo Curry is back in the game. The other game that we were not at is the incoming matchup for this coming Thursday between the Heat and the Deaf. The Tennessee Heat, in their first game as an independent organization in 8-man football. Second, that's right, where their first one was
last week was
South
the first.
David. Their second independent game from MTAC. They got the job done against the St. Andrews Swanee Mountain Lions 52-13. Just a tough loss for the Mountain Lions, especially with going on, I believe, their second winless consecutive season. Unfortunately, they've made some great plays and they've had some close moments to where they could get that W. Especially where last year they had that matchup that almost went to overtime.
No, last year they won one game.
Okay,
they beat the Heat in overtime.
That's right. They got the game in overtime. I thought it was the Heat that won that game. But
no, it was Swanee.
So one win in the last 2 seasons. Just tough for the Mountain Lions and for Coach Hargis. But for the Heat, it just shows a testament to how powerful of a team they were in the 2 players they picked up from Clarksville. So fantastic win for the Tennessee Heat, and especially going into Week 11, their 11th straight game.
Yeah, Swanee. Yeah, Swanee. Well, Swanee beat FCA as well last year. FCA, Lighthouse, and Webb. No, that was predictions. Hang on. That was
you're looking at your predictions. I'm pretty sure it was the Heat won in overtime because I think.
Actual results. Here's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you're looking at your predictions.
Actual result. They did not beat the Heat last year.
Yeah, it was that they went for 2.
Or they didn't beat Webb. They beat the Heat in overtime. Let's see. Lost to Lancaster. They
did beat the Heat in overtime last year?
Yeah, they beat the Heat in overtime. Okay. Lost to Lancaster. Lost to the Lighthouse by 1 point. They went for the 2 on the game. It would have been the game tying extra point, but they went for 2 and didn't get it. So close one there. Bowling Green only beat them 20-17 up there in Swanee. So a bunch of chances last year, and then this year, I mean, they're just in a rebuilding mode. They really are. I mean, I hate it for guys like Caleb McLean, some of the other seniors that are on the team, but they've got a lot of young talent and a lot of guys that they had to teach how to play football this year. And so if they can come back next year and build on that, they'll be just fine. But ever since Brandon Goolsby moved to receiver, it's been night and day. Yesterday, 4 catches, 186 yards, 3 touchdowns. Matthew Corley, one of the new quarterback, 10-17, 354 yards, 5 touchdowns. He did throw an interception. That's something that Swanee can build on this next year as well. Is while offense has struggled, and we saw it against Classical, their defense they'll give up points, but throughout the course of the game, they don't just get run all over. Yep. Like they'll have moments where they get beat, but they also have moments where it's just an insane defense. They showed it against Riverside. They showed it against Classical, and then against the Heat yesterday. But um, Josh Hackle with 7 tackles. He had an interception. Andrew Corley, 4 tackles, a sack, and a pick taken back for a touchdown. So they were able to make a lot of plays across the board and make enough to win. We mentioned on social media, kind of eerie how similar the scores were. One was 58-12. The other one was 52-13. I mean, that's pretty close. But big win for the Heat as they keep rolling, and a big announcement. We'll talk about it in a couple weeks, but they have picked up another game with the Freedom Cowboys, and they'll have that game next Friday, November 1st, up here in Tennessee. They're getting a location set up to play the game at because MJCA apparently has a game that night, or they might have a playoff game, so they're trying to prepare for that. But getting another venue set up for that, but it'll be a lot of fun. Apparently, it's going to be called the Independence Bowl, and they'll just kind of, a little play on words there, with both of them being independent. But it'll be a lot of fun. And then they're going to the NACA November 8th up in Dayton. They're going to play a team out of Baltimore, Maryland, a Catholic school out of Baltimore. They're both going to come up and play each other at noon on the 9th. I think it's the 9th. Oh, no, it might be the 8th.
It's probably Friday the 8th at I think it's
Friday the 8th. You're right. So Friday the 8th of November, they'll go up and play this team at noon. So they got a lot of things cooking in the books, and I'm excited to see what their schedule looks like next year, being able to kind of piece together their own schedule, play some 11, play some 8, just kind of feel out the situation and who could be a good opponent for them. But big win for them yesterday as they keep rolling.
Yeah, and there was one thing we forgot to mention last week is that with the Heat deciding to go independent from MTAC, all of these schools that are in MTAC now, all of them are brick and mortar schools. Now, every one of the organizations there, they all
in football
specifically, yeah, because they're Western Kentucky Trailblazers in basketball, and I think volleyball. They've also got some other places around. I think Tennessee Heat, they're still in.
Technically, we're still in volleyball and cross country,
yeah.
We'll see what happens with that. You got West Academy.
Yeah, West Academies. They've got.
They have a building, but I think it's mainly homeschoolers.
Okay.
And then you've got Daniel One Academy, which is homeschoolers out in Cookeville.
Is that? I thought Daniel One was. They have an actual brick and mortar. Okay.
No, it's homeschoolers. So there's a few other homeschool organizations
that are involved in MTAC, but at least football-wise, at the moment, it's all brick and mortar places. So interesting to see how that progresses going into 2020.
Yeah, they're homeschooled. Daniel One.
Okay, interesting to see how that goes going forward. So while James is getting our guest set up, because it's a short recap, only 3 games. While James is getting our guest set up, we'll show you the playoff picture again. And again, you look here. This is as of October 6th because there's no updates for the MTAC playoffs at the moment. This is just 7 days ago. No updates because none of the teams were active to have any impact in the postseason. Again, Christian Community School has the number 1 seed in the North. They locked that in many weeks ago. First team to lock a playoff berth. So May Flanders Field will host an MTAC semi going into the second weekend of November. For the number 1 and number 2 seed in the South, if the season were to end today, it'd be a coin flip between Ezel Harding and Lancaster Christian. But that matchup between them this Friday is going to determine the fate of the Bowling Green Christian Academy Warriors on if they are traveling to Lancaster or Ezel Harding.
We got to give it a couple more minutes. He's not ready.
Okay. Well, looking of course at the rest of the bracket, of course the number 3 seed locked in by Riverside Christian. That other semi to determine who faces off against the number 1 seed in the South is permanently locked in. The Patriots of South Haven Christian School will host a playoff game against the Riverside Christian Academy Knights. Again, the date and time to be determined.
Hey Spencer, where can you find that bracket?
It's not on the website.
Oh,
unless somebody put it up there.
No, we need to put it on the website. You
can find it right there if you're looking at the actual YouTube video. So the Patriots in Springfield will be hosting that. They will be hosting the playoff game up in Springfield. Looking forward to that. Whoever wins that game faces off against either Ezel Harding or Lancaster the following week in the semifinal. And whoever wins the Bowling Green game against either Lancaster or Ezel will face off against the Christian Community Colts for the MTAC playoffs. And again, the 2019 MTAC Championship is set for November 9th, Saturday at 7 p.m. Hosted by Ezel Harding. Early word was that the conference was going to try and get it at Bethel University, but the confirmation coming a few weeks ago that Ezel Harding will be the venue for the MTAC Championship. Great venue, of course. Great venue, and great for the Eagles in their first year in the conference to host the MTAC Championship, and a potential for them to be the second team to win an MTAC Championship on their home turf. But it's not about the Eagles right now. It's about the Bowling Green Christian Academy Warriors getting into the playoffs a few weeks ago by the Heat, effectively dropping out of MTAC in football.
Well, but to be fair, Bowling Green did their job by beating
That's
Lighthouse.
What I was about to
if
get
they
to.
hadn't beat Lighthouse, it wouldn't have worked out. But they did their job in terms of doing everything they could to get to that position.
Yep, and for the Bowling Green Christian Academy Warriors, they're in the playoffs, and to give us more insight on that, we have the head coach for the Bowling Green Christian Academy Warriors, Coach Don Brown. How is it up in Bowling Green, Coach?
Oh, it's beautiful. Hey, guys.
Hey, Coach. Hey, before we get to the playoffs, I want to talk about Friday night. You guys have a big game with the Freedom Cowboys. Of course, you guys have never played. Kind of talk about how that game came about and how excited you guys are to get to play a team from Alabama, which I will add, this is the first time since 2005 that we have a Kentucky and Alabama team playing.
Yeah, I didn't know that until you said that a few weeks ago. We just reached out to them and see if they wanted to play us. We were looking for a team earlier in the year, so it's a tall task for us. They're a tough team with a storied history, and they continue to beat good opponents, and so we have our work cut out for us. But we're gonna give it all we got.
When you guys head into a game like that, obviously you've got a playoff game coming up next week. But how do you kind of keep the guys focused on not getting too hyped for what's ahead, but focusing on the tasks that you guys have at hand on Friday night?
We're a little bit different phase than we were a year ago. We're really just focusing these guys on playing good football, and it's one block at a time, one tackle at a time, one play at a time, and we don't have the luxury of getting ahead of ourselves. So we're just looking for some success here and there, something to hang our hat on as far as enjoying the season. It's been a rough season, but we're going to keep fighting and hope for the best. So I don't think we're going to have a problem looking past Freedom Cowboys. I really don't.
Now, you guys earlier this year had a big win against Lighthouse. First time ever in program, a lot of firsts happening for y'all. First time ever beating them, and that was huge. With all the former players that you have able to be around the team and be on the staff, how big was it for them, not only just the current players, but for them as well, to kind of get to be a part of that and kind of see how the guys performed?
Yeah, I mean, it was big. It was, there's a few teams that we've never beaten, and they were one of them. And so that was, we go down there at their place, and they have a lot of athletes. They're a well-coached team, and for us to come from behind and get that victory was really big. And to their credit, they came up to our place and took it to us. But to our credit again, we got a bunch of boys that really keep fighting, and we're not the best defensively, and we can definitely do better. But one thing we do have is heart, and these guys keep playing the game and keep at it.
For sure, that's definitely obvious.
Yeah, obvious by the box scores as well. I mean, we had the pleasure of calling your guys' game against the Tennessee Heat, and the final score 84-64. About at the start of the fourth quarter, the mercy rule started running, but you guys kept scoring and scoring and fighting back, and that's more validity than there already is in what you're saying about your guys having heart and fighting back. So it's really incredible to see your guys just have that pushback and know that regardless of what time is left on the game clock or how much scores you're down, they still fight back.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Coach,
I think
yeah, go ahead.
I just think it also it shows you that how important having a roster with some depth on it is. You know, we have 14 kids, and we can only move them around so many ways, and you get a couple injuries here and there, and all of a sudden, it's really hard to compete against teams that have 10 plus guys on the sideline in addition to their starters. So
Absolutely.
when we talk about players come and going, just a few players here and there, it does make a difference.
For sure, absolutely. How big has and it's kind of an understatement, but how big has it been to see how Gage has performed this year, and what kind of a leader has he been for the team? I know no football team's made up of one player, but it seems like he's a very important piece of the team.
Oh, Gage is a quiet sort of a guy, and he's got that quiet confidence. He's not a rah, get in your face sort of a guy. I wish we had some more vocal leaders in the field, to be honest. But he's a playmaker, and when you need something to happen and you need it, when you need to count on somebody, he's the guy. And so we're just trying to find ways to get him the ball in space, and he is definitely very quick and very fast, and it's a pleasure to have him on the team for sure.
Who are some other guys this year that you've seen kind of step up throughout the season that, Friday night with Freedom and then the playoff game coming up, that they've kind of stepped up and we can keep our eyes on?
Well, you've mentioned Cooper Guy in the past. He is our nose guard and our center. And so he's always solid. He's probably the most vocal on the team that keeps the guys going, has really taken a huge leadership role the last month or maybe a little bit more. And then the other senior and the other captain is Joel Thomason, and he's been in the program for I think this is his third year, and I can put him in about every position and know that he's going to play well and with physicality and do his job. And so I guess those are the other two guys. There's several other guys that have made significant progress through the year, and we're continuing to make more progress. I'm trying to get a little orneriness out of them, but we're doing good. There's a lot of good guys in this team, and we really are a brotherhood, and really gelling as a team. So hopefully we'll continue to improve.
So, Coach, the Brotherhood of the Warriors is now in the playoffs based on what's happened in the last few weeks, and with that playoff berth, as the bracket stands, you will either be facing off against Lancaster Christian or Ezel Harding, depending on who wins that game Friday night. Just give us a little bit of a testament, or tell us about how from the I believe it's now 4 or 5 years that your program is since it's starting, and to go from an initial winless season to building up the program to winning the MTAC Bowl last year, and then getting a playoff berth. Just tell us about how the program has grown from that winless season in the first season to now a chance to play for the MTAC championship.
Or for those new listeners that might not know some of the names, who are some of the guys that have helped get it to that level along with yourself?
Well, that first year was tough. We were new. I think God blessed our team by getting a team together. I remember we had an interest meeting in July, and we had like 3 or 4 kids show up that first year, and then God provided a field. God provided a coach and some assistants, and then we were able to raise some money and get some uniforms. And it seems like every game we had that year was in the rain. It was cold, um, but we made through it. And what happened that first year is it instilled a level of intensity that was needed. So we weren't going to be a traditional uh, homeschool or Christian school that is just going to do participation. You know, that wasn't what it was about. We run the race to win. And so we had a certain level of intensity that we brought the next year. And, we got that first win against Hendersonville. All of a sudden, we could taste it a little bit. We had some strong leadership. Of course, I'm partial to my sons. At that time, Tucker Brown was the quarterback, and he took a lead. And there were some others, Spencer Baird, and of course John Stock and Riley Davis, and then Tucker graduated. Tanner came in and assumed a strong leadership position. Ben Thomas was on the team last year, so we had four strong seniors that had guided the program. If they weren't there at the inception, they were there at least 2 or 3 years. And we worked in the off season and talked about leadership and servanthood and brotherhood, and then obviously we were able to get some more equipment that was needed, tackling dummies and blocking sleds, and getting some coaches to help us. And so it's just been a gradual progression. This year we did take a step back. It's a little bit of a rebuilding year, and like I talked about, it's important to have the right kind of numbers. But yeah, I think as a program, we have improved, and I'm as proud as I could be of these guys. They really fight.
So, Coach, you guys had the opportunity to face off against Lancaster Christian earlier in the season, and you might have another opportunity to collide with them in the playoffs. Would you rather face off against Lancaster Christian since you have a chance to see how their systems work, or would you rather challenge your guys with facing off against the East L Harding Eagles?
Oh man, is that a loaded question? I'm not answering that question. What you talking about?
That's
No,
fair.
they're both. I mean, they're both undefeated in the MTAC, and they both have players deep. I mean, they're both well coached. And I kind of answered this question earlier. We're just trying to get better, one play at a time, one tackle at a time. And so, um, we just got to worry about us. They're going to take care of themselves. And I have all the respect in the world for those teams. And certainly we did play Lancaster, and, they're really, really talented.
Well,
No question about it. And I've never seen Ezel live. So,
well, speaking of playing teams, y'all have played a lot of teams that aren't around anymore. Pleasant View, Hendersonville, Madisonville, just different teams. If there was one team that you could play one more time, that if they could put a team together, who is there anybody that comes to mind?
oh, I don't know. Probably Hendersonville again, because Coach Meek was. I considered him a friend, and I had all the respect in the way he ran a program, and that it would be competitive. I think our talent levels were pretty similar, so it was a lot of fun playing him, but it was fun playing all the other guys too.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time and coming on the show. We're looking forward to seeing the competition between whoever you face in the playoffs, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys fight till the very end. So thank you for coming on the show, and best of luck in the playoffs.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
That was Coach Don Brown of the Bowling Green Christian Academy Warriors. Always great to talk with the coaches on the show.
He's a really good
especially.
guy.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they always roll out the red carpet for us anytime we go up to Bowling Green.
With a red truck.
Yeah, they roll out the red truck. Was it red? Was it actually a red
know.
truck? I don't remember. I'm red, green, brown deficient, so I wouldn't even know if it's red
true.
or not.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, if anyone should know, it should be you. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, follow along on your.
The point being, it's always the best that they can do, and that's all we can ask
Right.
for. Just do the best that help us out the best you can, and they always do that for sure.
And they play on a 40-by-80 field, so we see true eight-man
There you
football
go.
there. Or is it 40-by-82 or something like
I
that?
think it's 40-by-52.
Yeah, something like that. Follow along on your helmet schedules. This is the last week that you're following along for a preview of the next coming week on the helmet schedule. And the next week is the last time the helmet schedule is useful, unfortunately.
It's useful all year, though.
How so?
You get to see what games are coming up.
No. I'm talking about this is the last.
No, I'm
next
saying it
week
was
is-
useful
Yeah,
throughout the
it was
season.
useful. I'm saying this is the last time it is useful.
I want to give a shout out again to Mr. John Williams of J&G Creative Designs.
Yep.
I believe that's the name of the company.
J&G Creative Enterprises.
Enterprises, right. Big shout out to him for doing the helmet schedule.
Yep.
And
shout out to Signs First for sponsoring as
Signs
well.
First. Also for Mr. John Williams. These helmet pictures you see all year, he's doing these. So a huge shout out to him, and really appreciate him helping us out and working with that. He does a fantastic. I mean, even when I text him and say, "Hey, I forgot," text him on Tuesday and say, "Hey, I forgot to tell you we've got Tennessee School for the Deaf in Florida. I know you've never done Florida, but hey, can you help us out?" Just right on top of it, makes it look fantastic.
Yep. Does a
He's
great
top
job.
notch. Y'all hit him up.
Yep, be sure to do that for any of your printing graphics or voiceover needs over there. And again, special thanks to Signs First Franklin in Franklin, Tennessee for
Beautiful banners.
sponsoring the helmet
Huge.
schedule. Yep, you've given us 2 banners for us to hang up at the games, let people know where they can follow not only their team but the rest of the teams.
And where they're at. They're
Yep,
at the
exactly.
Extreme Game of the Week.
Yep, and they know they could send that over to anyone who wants to watch. So follow along on your helmet schedules top to bottom. It's time to go through our preview of the games in Week 11. This is the final week of regular season play in MTAC and final week of regular season play for 8-man football. We may see a pickup game or two between teams that aren't making the playoffs going into the first week of the postseason, because we saw that I think we saw that 2 years ago with Riverside Christian and Bowling Green Christian. They played a game the Saturday after the postseason, and then were there any last year?
Well, there was a Hendersonville FCS game. There's been every year.
I'm
There's
talking
been
about last year.
Last
I'm
year.
trying to remember who it was. I know that South Haven and FCA picked up a game, but I think that was actually it was South Haven.
Yeah,
FCA.
that was during.
They picked it up the Saturday after the first round, the semis of the playoffs. So every team. At least 2 teams pick up a final game, give another game to their seniors, intensity and such, that they won't be able to compete in the postseason. But we might see a game like that pick up going into the MTAC playoffs. But Week 11, here we go. The Warriors, Bowling Green Christian Academy, they collide with the Freedom Cowboys. First time, as James said, as he's pumping his fist because his fantasy team is leading.
Well, there's 4 4-1 teams, and we're all playing. I'm playing another 4-1, and then the other 2 are playing. So I won't be the only 4-1 to lose this week. Sorry, just a little fantasy football update.
First time, as you said, James, since 2005 that an 8-man football team from Kentucky has played an 8-man football team from Alabama, and the Warriors will host the Freedom Cowboys in Bowling Green, and this will be the 5th game that the Freedom Cowboys have played against an MTAC team, and most of those, 3 of those.
Freedom's 3-1.
Yep, they are 3-1 right now, and one of those games being on the road against the Tennessee Heat. Four out of the 5 games being on the road.
Yeah.
So looking to get that 5-0 sweep of MTAC teams they're facing. But for Bowling Green, it's a good warm up for them going into the playoffs to get their guys warmed up, prepared to go into the postseason and such. And for Freedom, it's good to get their I believe that's their final game of the season as well. So for Freedom, it's a good finish out to the year.
No.
Actually, they
got
have
the
another
Tennessee Heat game.
That's right. They picked
On
that
November
up.
1st.
It was their final game.
It would have been their final game.
Yep.
They're going to travel to going to travel north twice, and Gage Holman has been fantastic all year. Coach mentioned Cooper Guy and Joel Thomas and some different guys. I don't know. The travel could play a factor for Freedom. It could affect him a little bit. I do have Freedom winning Friday night.
You're going against Tennessee, and you're going with Alabama.
I'm going against Kentucky.
But that's a miracle, though, that you would actually support a Bama team when you were raving about UT.
I'm taking.
It seems unethical for you just a little bit, but hey, I mean, predictions are predictions.
Well, it seemed unethical. Blame it on it seeming unethical 3 weeks before the season started there, Spencer.
So, the Patriots of South Haven collide with their soon-to-be playoff rivals against the Riverside Christian Academy Knights.
Always cracks me up when we have these back-to-back. We had one last year with the bowl game.
That's true. That's true. We had Bowling Green Riverside. Was that back to back? I think there was
Yeah.
a week separation between the two.
Bowling Green went to Riverside, or Riverside went to Bowling Green the last week of the season, and then Riverside was going to have to go back up for the bowl game. But Bowling Green, of course, being super gracious and generous with Coach Creasy's situation, they decided to go to Riverside and help him out with that. So big shout out to Bowling Green and the way they handled that.
I sit corrected. This is one use for the helmet schedule after the season concludes is to go back and reference it. Because I'm referencing 2018 to make sure that you're correct. And Bowling Green,
of course I'm correct.
Bowling Green hosted Riverside in week 11, and then the next week it was
just said.
That's what I'm saying. Anyways.
Literally just said.
So for South Haven, they travel down to Fayetteville, and then Riverside travels up to Springfield for the playoff game. So it's going to be interesting because both of these teams, they're able to get film on each other, get their systems a little bit. Might be a time for the teams to change up their strategies going into the postseason. But at the end of the day, Riverside is hosting it in Fayetteville. They are hosting the Patriots. I believe, how many times has it been that they've collided with each other? I think this will be maybe the 4th or 5th time all time.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
I'd have to do some research.
Yeah, you could do research on that. But Riverside go number 3 seed in the playoffs, number 2 seed in the playoffs. Patriots. It's going to be a heck of a matchup and a great preview for the postseason.
Listen, South Haven has not had to travel this year. Now, they've had 2 away games. But the travel has not been.
They went to CCS and they went to the Heat. So
right. The travel has not been super. They haven't had to exert a lot of energy in it. I think between Friday night and the trip, and I think with the momentum that Riverside, because Riverside, remember, 2 weeks ago they lost to Lancaster, so they're coming off not only upset about that loss, but they also know that they can play them again in the playoffs. So they're going to have 2 cracks at them. Now, granted, Riverside's going to have to go to South Haven next week. But all that being said, I still have Riverside beating South Haven Christian.
And do you think that – and I would ask you if that's your playoff prediction, but
you'll get those next week.
Exactly.
What's the point of having a show next week if I'm going to give my predictions this week?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we got a special guest coming in studio next week. We won't reveal
Possibly.
that. But, yeah, we got a special guest coming in studio next week. So your prediction, Riverside take the win at
Working
home.
On a special guest.
Now, on Thursday, the Tennessee Heat, they take the travel up. They hosted them last year towards the end of the season, and now they will travel up to Knoxville to collide with the Tennessee School for the Deaf. Both of these teams, Tennessee Heat getting a good win against the Mountain Lions, and then the Vikings taking a tough loss against the Dragons. It's one team coming in with the win, one team coming in with the loss. It's going to be interesting, and I think it may have a huge impact if Lorenzo Curry is active on Thursday.
That'll have a huge impact on the game and will determine a whole lot. But even outside of the injury, I've still got the Tennessee Heat beating Tennessee School for the Deaf.
It's going to be an interesting collision for sure up in Knoxville. And as far as I know, Tennessee Heat, they're staying up there Thursday night, and then they're staying up in Knoxville and then coming back Friday.
Probably.
So we'll get to soak in Knoxville a good amount.
That'd probably be the smart move.
Might be. Who knows? Or they could pull a U. And
they're
just
not
come
as
back
crazy as us.
Yeah, they're not as crazy as us. Or more so, they're more sane than we are. It's probably a better way of putting it.
True.
The final week of the regular season for Lighthouse Christian School, what's looking like their final game of the year, unless they pick up a game, they're colliding with the Christian Community Colts for their division rivalry. For the last, this is, I think, the 3rd or 4th year in a row that the Lions have faced off against Christian Community in the last week of the season. I know it happened in 2017 and 2018.
We're about to find out.
I don't know. Check 2016 because I know it did happen in the last several years, but they always have a great divisional matchup. You got guys like Aiden Hooper, you got Jamari Teague, some other key factors for the Lions. But for Christian Community, the questions have been looming. Is the dynasty still there? Are they still high? Now, are they still high up there as a powerhouse team? And that question, of course, coming with their losses to Lancaster and Ezel, but they're still the number 1 seed in the playoffs for a reason, and that's because they get the job done. And even though it doesn't have any impact on their playoff seedings, Christian Community at May Flanders Field, they're going to get it done. They'll try to get it done for the most part, unless Lighthouse can pull the upset.
Well, Lighthouse can't affect playoff seeding right now. They can't knock CCS out. But you know what they can do? They can go to Christian, or it's the games at Lighthouse. They can host Christian Community,
Okay,
and they can play spoiler to the mood rolling into the playoffs. You know, the only thing you don't want is rolling into the playoffs with a loss.
Yep.
And so you don't want to have that happen. Lighthouse is going to be trying to make that happen. I mean, these guys, last game of the year, you know, I'm sure they're upset about not being able to be in the playoffs. And, you know, some of these seniors, you know, other than possibly the All-Star game, this is the last chance they're going to get to play. So they're going to come in with a mindset of, hey, guess what? We're going to give it our all. It's senior night. We have a chance to kind of throw them off their game a little bit, maybe throw off their mojo. I'm looking at 2016, and they did play CCS to close out the year. So this is at least year number 4.
So at least year number 4. I wonder if you go back and look at their all-time matchups, because I think Max Preps does provide that. You can look at their all-time matchups.
I could go year by year. Anyways,
yeah,
all that being said, I still got CCS beating Lighthouse.
You got CCS beating them. So all the North teams active this week, as well as the Tennessee Heat being active as the independent team, Tennessee School for the Deaf. The 2 independent teams we cover now.
2015, they were that was their final game of the year.
Maybe it's just whenever Lighthouse came into the conference, they set that as standard. It might be the same thing for one of the other final week matchups we're going to go over. Might just be a tradition that they have final week.
Well, it's rivalry week.
Exactly, rivalry week. Going towards the south, we already went over Riverside and South Haven. Thursday night, we will be doing the Battle of Franklin. It seems to be a continued tradition that we always do.
Set up by you.
Yeah, well, not just by me.
Yeah.
Was it in 2017? Did I really say we have to do the Battle of Franklin? I don't think it was me. It may have been Trent at the time. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
May have been somebody. But did you do the Battle of Franklin in 2016?
I don't think I did.
Don't think you did.
I don't think I did.
Well, 3 years straight we're doing the Battle of Franklin, and it's because they schedule it on the last Thursday of the regular season.
Except for last year.
Last year they had it on a Friday. Actually, last year they had it on a Thursday. Yeah. They had it on a Thursday last year.
Friday, earlier in the season. Pull up the helmet schedule. Bet.
I do have the 2018 helmet schedule
Bet.
here. It was a little bit earlier. Okay, so it was week 7 last year. So it wasn't
on a
early
Friday.
in the season, but yes, it was on a Friday.
Okay. All right.
That's right, because there was another match. Oh, yeah, that's right. You were mad because that was a matchup between the Webb School and Lancaster, and you wanted us to do that game. But Isaiah and I had our bet going.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had your bet.
Yeah, but you were
Lancaster Webb was still a big game, but you guys had a bet, and you
got to see it unfold in person.
Yeah, you got to catch up.
Because it wouldn't have made sense for Isaiah to wear a Franklin Christian jersey on the field at Webb. Like, it wouldn't have made any sense.
Oh, it would have made total sense. It would have been
hilarious. No one would have understood what was going on.
It was hilarious already to see him in an FCA jersey and hat.
Okay, back to the prediction at hand. So the both teams in rebuilding phase, and it's even though Franklin Christian's on the road, they're just going down the street, so it's not even any travel for.
They're going across the street.
Yep, across the street.
Right across the street.
Yep, but on Thursday night we'll be doing that game, and it's time for your prediction time. And I want to confirm, ladies and gentlemen, I'm waiting for Isaiah to answer about if he's going to do if we're going to do a wager this year for the Battle of Franklin.
We did it last in the works.
It's in the works. We'll post it on social media when we get confirmation on it.
It's tougher with him doing coaching.
Exactly.
Like if he's I don't know, acting like a coach, and then all of a sudden, you know,
if
he's
FCA
wearing
wins,
FCA stuff.
Yeah, that'd be
which
hilarious.
Won't happen because I have classical pick to beat Franklin Christian. I think that Samuel Hubbard's on a roll. Clay Lott, Josh Salstrin, those guys are just cranking it out right now. And so I think FCA is struggling a little bit right now. So I've got classical winning.
It's going to be a great game to see on Thursday. James and I will be on call for that. The Mountain Lions, their season has concluded. As far as I know, they're not going to pick up any more games. They have a bye week in Week 11, but who knows? We can be surprised. If they pick up another game, we'll see.
Well, it's been a tough season. I think they're ready to look forward to wrestling and basketball and just kind of look forward to next year, hopefully developing the guys that they've been able to develop so far.
And this is the one game we pull an approach just like Sunday Night Football, where the final week of the regular season we wait to see how things play out and then choose to do which match, which is why Sunday Night Football was doing Indianapolis at Tennessee last year. Wish I could have gone to that game. But
everybody on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Anyways, so rivalry week, we had this penciled in a few weeks ago and realized it, basically mid through the season we realized this is going to be a huge determiner, and we decided, okay, unless something major happens, we're doing this game. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, we will be live from Smyrna. The Lancaster Christian Academy Knights host the Ezel Harding Christian School Eagles. The matchup to determine who will be the number 1 and number 2 seed in the South of the playoffs.
Well, it's also going to determine whether or not Lancaster can finish the year unbeaten.
Yeah.
The regular season unbeaten.
It'll determine if Ezel goes unbeaten in their first season of 8-man football as well.
Yeah, well,
one team is going to take the loss.
MTAC, yeah.
In MTAC, yeah. And it'll determine if Lancaster Christian in their second year can go completely unbeaten on their record because they didn't play the Evangel Christian School Lightning. They didn't play any. They didn't play a team that was
an out-of-state team.
They didn't play an out-of-state.
But that doesn't take away from their. I mean, they still beat Riverside, who was a good opponent. They still beat Christian Community, who's in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
They beat Bowling Green, who's in the playoffs. I mean, they've beat some teams. They beat the Heat, who were going to be in the playoffs.
And they beat Riverside, who's in the playoffs.
I already said Riverside.
That's right. That's right.
They
beat the Heat, who was going to be in the playoffs.
Sorry, Lancaster. Look, Lancaster handled their business.
Yep.
They did what they needed to do. Ezel Harding handled their business. They ran into a fantastic team who in 8-man football is unbeaten. Now, they've lost a couple 11-man games, but at 8-man they're unbeaten. And it was just, the trip down, playing the team. It is what it is.
This is going to be an intense matchup, potentially a preview for the MTAC championship, depending on how things play out. But at the end,
getting ahead a little bit.
But it's possible that they could face off in the MTAC championship. But they have to, whichever team is the number 2 seed has to get through. Has to get through Bowling Green and Christian Community, and the number 1 team has to get their job done hosting. But regardless,
Spencer,
of anything, it's a big playoff.
We're going to have history.
Game.
For the 3rd year in a row, we are going to have a team go unbeaten in the regular season. I've got Lancaster beating Ezel Harding. Deuce Bragg is tearing it up. They have guys like Isaiah and Elijah Moore. They've got Devin Hargrove on the line, Lane Spurlock, Nolan Adams. They've got and then you throw in T.J. Robbins and Jordan Horde. They have got they're like a 5-star meal with all the trimmings. It's a complete setup. And I think they're going to handle it. Listen, it's going to be a shootout. Ezel is going to be right there. You look at Derek Griffin, Braxton Coleman, Kadarius Price, Jamari Lindell, on and on. Alex Valbuena, on and on and on.
Just the depth that both teams have.
Both teams are just stacked. Mm-hmm. Coaching staffs, they're stacked. Mm-hmm. They are 2 fantastic teams. There hasn't been very many games to close out the year that I'm like, man, usually it's like, okay, this is going to be a good game. This might have playoff implications. Mm-hmm. This one is massive.
I think it was probably week 5 or 6 we said we have to do this game.
Well, yeah, everyone knew about 4 weeks into the season, okay, guess what? It might come down to these 2 unless Riverside can pull it off. Mm-hmm. So this is a massive, massive matchup, but I do have the Knights winning and taking the number 1 seed.
That means the loser will host a playoff game against the Bowling Green Christian Academy.
How
Warriors.
awesome is that? Even if you lose, you still get to host a home playoff game.
Exactly. The only difference is you don't lock home field advantage through the playoffs.
That's true.
Which, as you know, for Christian Community, that's a huge
for Ezel.
It's a huge
not
factor.
Matter though.
For Ezel, it could,
they could still get 2 home games.
That's true.
Could happen.
That's true. If Ezel gets number 1 seed, they get 2 home games, a semi. And
well, no, they get. Oh yeah. You're right.
They're not playing in the first round.
Yeah.
For Ezel, they want to win this one so they can host home field advantage through the championship.
and what kind of story is it that your first year into 8-man coming from TSSAA, you kind of dominate your opponents, roll in, win in the playoffs, win the championship. It's a great situation to help them with their football program. Same for Lancaster.
Yep.
Lancaster's been on a roll. This is the 2nd year in a row they made the playoffs. 2 fantastic programs, and again, it's going to be I think it'll be a shootout. I think it will. You have 2 high-powered offenses. The defenses have struggled at times, giving up points, but these offenses, there's a lot to click.
Absolutely.
I would say this. If Lancaster can shut down Derek Griffin, that's kind of the key to their whole offense. Now, Price and Coleman can do things. They can run the ball well. But you have to be able to shut down Griffin. That's the center point. On the opposite side, same thing.
You shut down Bragg.
You shut down Deuce Bragg. Well, I mean, Classical handled Deuce Bragg in the first half of their game. I mean, they were able to pick him off. They were able to do some stuff. So if Ezel can shut that down, then they got playmakers. But I think it starts with Deuce Bragg, and I think Ezel, it starts with Derek Griffin. So we got another senior freshman quarterback matchup. Freshman playing like a senior on top of his game. There's no question how big this matchup is. This is massive.
It's kind of the NFL equivalent to a rookie versus the veteran. Even though Bragg has played in eighth grade, normally eighth graders would start. It's kind of
no, he's not a rookie.
Somewhat.
No, he's not.
I'd say it's somewhat the equivalent.
It's not even somewhat. It's not even close. He's a second-year player.
Why do you think I say
actually?
Somewhat?
If you want to, it's almost like
going
dog
by
years.
High school.
Actually, it's almost like dog years. Like you have to. It's because you only have 4, maybe 5 years to play. At NFL, like a Brady, you have like 20 years to play. So you have to scale it back a little bit. So Deuce Bragg would be. Let's see. If you got 5 years times 2, that's 12. That's about what an NFL quarterback plays. So he's like a fourth-year player.
So he's like Dak Prescott.
Right.
So he's Dak Prescott, and then what does that make Derek Griffin?
If he's a senior who's kind of newer, catching on.
Phillip Rivers?
Yeah. That's pretty solid there,
Because
I
would say Tom Brady, but they haven't won as many championships.
No, not Phillip Rivers, because Phillip Rivers hasn't been as successful.
Drew Brees?
Yeah. That's a good one.
So Brees
Look at
versus
you, Spence.
Prescott.
Look at you.
We'll just say Brees versus Prescott. Let's watch it be on social media. They put a post.
It ain't going up there.
It probably won't.
It ain't going up there.
Won't. So that game starts at 7:30. We'll be live from Smyrna. Thursday we got the Battle of Franklin. Then Friday we got the battle for first place in the South. That's going to wrap it up for Extreme Radio today. Before we get into our sponsors, 8manextreme.com. Enter in the Chick-fil-A giveaway. And just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you enter however many entries you have, your entry is not confirmed in the giveaway until you pay for your entries. It's $10 an entry, but again, you'd pay just $10 for one entry. You could win about $400-something value with 52 meal cards.
Hang on. It's 52. We did a little Chick-fil-A Friday. Spencer wouldn't do Chick-fil-A.
No, I would.
You didn't do You didn't want to do Chick-fil-A
No, we went off the interstate and it said 5 miles off the highway.
That's true.
Yeah, you said no, I'm not doing it.
Okay, so if your typical meal is $8, right, at Chick-fil-A, you get 52 free meals. That's $420 worth of meals.
So if you do a $10 entry and you win that, that's $410 profit. No.
$420 worth of meals for $10 or even $20.
Yeah.
Do 2 entries.
Yeah, do 2 entries. And we'll announce the winner at the Chick-fil-A All-Star Game 2019.
Let's just kind of tease everybody. Okay, so just later on today, we'll get the what the results are currently for the All-Star Game voting. But just to kind of give you all a little teaser.
Big thing I want to tell you guys about that Chick-fil-A giveaway. Right now, there's only 3 people entered. Confirmed
that have reached out and paid their invoices.
Yep, there are only 3 confirmed, so you have more of a chance.
Now more people have entered,
but haven't confirmed.
It hasn't been locked in. So you
so
still got a massive
only
shot.
Only 3 people confirmed. You got a massive shot at winning that Chick-fil-A.
And the entries for that contest closes the day of the MTAC championship.
Yep.
And at the halftime of the All-Star game is when we'll do the drawing.
Yep.
We'll have the big bowl with the paper slips.
Yep. We'll put them in capsules and shake.
We'll roll out the red carpet.
Yep, we'll roll it out and choose who.
So we've got shout out to y'all, 3,300 votes. We only had 2,900 votes last year in 2 weeks, and in less than a week we got 3,300. So a huge shout out.
And there's still 6 days left to vote. We're closing it Saturday, right?
Just over 6 days, yeah.
Yep.
Closing it Saturday at midnight.
Keep voting.
And then we'll send out invites next Monday. So let's see, which quarterback is number 1 right now. It is Samuel Hubbard is number 1 right now with 500. Well, hang on, I gotta double check this. 100. What's 119? 119 plus 395 is
119 plus 395.
No, yeah, 395. That's 514. Okay, wow, that's close. Okay. So with 525 votes, Samuel Hubbard leads the voting for quarterback right now from Classical. In second place, it's Mr. Derek Griffin with 521. And then in third place, it's Mr. Matthew Corley from the Heat at 514. Now, again, the voting counts for a third of the final decision. It's coaches' nominations, it's voting, and then at the end, we'll sit down, we'll put in our 2 cents, and come up with a list. There will be an alternate list.
Yep.
Because right now we sit at about 60% of people who accept the initial invitation.
Our goal is 85% this year.
Our goal is, realistically 85. Goal is 100. So we can have, what we consider the best player, what the coaches consider the best players. But so that's quarterback. So Samuel Hubbard leads that. In terms of running back, it is, hang on, my phone will cooperate, Mr. Kadarius Price from Maysel Harding Christian. That's wonderful. Mr. Kadarius Price, 586 votes. So Price is in the lead in terms of running backs. Let's look at wide receivers real quick. Mr. Brandon Goolsby from the Tennessee Heat leads wide receivers with 1,610 votes. So almost half the votes for Mr. Brandon Goolsby. And in terms of tight end, defensive end, Carter Sutton leads 1,830 votes. And offensive, defensive line, the number one lineman right now in terms of votes is Ross Scott from the Tennessee Heat, 1,337 votes. So a lot of voting across the board, a lot of good responses, a ton of participation. So y'all keep it up for sure.
I think we have one person vote 10 times in one day. That's great.
Hey, you can vote as many times as you want.
Yep.
This isn't once a day. Don't just vote once and then, clock out.
Exactly.
Go vote multiple times a day.
Yep. Go vote. Go enter in the Chick-fil-A giveaway. Get the bell on our YouTube channel. Go check out the website. We're telling people to do a lot of stuff this year.
Well, there's a lot of participation.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
We're very active. There's a lot going on. We're growing, and
Yep.
there's a lot of stuff that you can do, a lot of ways you can get involved. If you don't
Exactly.
want Chick-fil-A, that's your decision.
You could give it to somebody else.
Crazy decision, but a good
Yeah,
your
exactly.
decision.
I wish they.
But you can still go vote.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A being closed on Sundays. I'm craving Chick-fil-A right now. What is it with people always craving Chick-fil-A on Sundays?
You always want what you can't have.
Exactly. That'll do it for Extreme Radio, presented by GracePointe Healthcare, the final regular season Extreme Radio of the 2019 season and of 2019 in total. It's pretty incredible that we're already to this point, James. We're
last regular season. There's still more shows. Don't be telling people this is the last show.
No. This is the last regular season show, and then we
Okay.
go into the playoffs. So it's going to be.
It's not going to change anything. We're still
No, it
going
doesn't.
to.
I'm not saying it does. I'm just
We're
saying
going to recap the last weekend's
I'm
games.
saying it's
We're
incredible.
going to have an interview, and we're
Yes.
going to preview the games.
I'm saying it's.
And then we're going to ramble on and on about all the stuff that's going on.
What I'm saying is that it's incredible that we are to this point already and how fast it's gone. Because
That's how time works.
it feels like we were in July just a few weeks
Maybe to
ago.
you.
Yeah, maybe to you. Who knows?
It's been a long season.
That'll wrap it up. Today's episode of Extreme Radio and all season long presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. Request your appointment online at their new website. And you mentioned you were with 8-Man Extreme. You get $20 off your new patient office visit fee. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Sponsored by Dr. Sterling Foster. Visit drsterlingfoster.com for all your digestive issues and chiropractic needs.
Ooh, I just had a thought. I'm gonna text the boss and ask her if she wants to have Jets for supper.
I could go for Jets right now, actually.
I'm gonna ask her if she wants to do some
The
Jets.
the only reason I can't go for Jets is because my dad showed up yesterday to the house and had a Whole Foods pizza with a bunch of veggies on it. So he showed up with yesterday.
What's
It's good.
wrong with you?
It was good. It tastes really good
So why can't you have Jets tonight?
because there's still leftover pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's still leftover pizza.
I'm gonna ask the boss if she wants pizza. But
We'll get Jets in studio next week. That sounds really good because we got guests coming in.
shout
Got some
out
people coming in.
Jets.
Yeah. We'll get
Anyways,
Jets coming in.
no matter where you are, it's always a great time to, well, first off, ask your significant other who's the boss.
Yep.
But ask her,
Is it a tie?
or just go get Jets
just
pizza.
go get it and surprise
Always a
her.
great time to do it. It's always a great time to go get Jets pizza.
And say,
And it's always a great time to be insured, especially since you have to have insurance on your car.
Mhm.
You should have insurance for different things.
mm-hmm.
So why not just look? I mean,
Give 'em a
I
chance.
understand if you've had the same insurance company for a while, just give them a shot.
Give him a chance.
Go check out IHateBuyingInsurance.com. See what they can do for you.
Exactly. Buddy Joe Graves helping us with that. That's wrapping up our radio show for previewing Week 11. Again, Thursday, Battle of Franklin will be there at Classical for the collision of the Falcons and the Knights. And Friday night at 7:30, we'll be live from Smyrna for the battle for first place.
Busy
in the
weekend.
Playoffs. Busy weekend for sure. The Knights and the Eagles collide. For James Shannon, all of the hardworking men and women that make 8-Man Extreme so successful as he's giving me a smirk.
We have a Saturday off, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yeah. First Saturday off.
Then it gets busy.
Yeah, and then the playoffs, they get really busy. For James Shannon, all the hardworking men and women that make 8-Man Extreme successful, I'm Spencer Thompson. We'll see you on Thursday for the Battle of Franklin and Friday for Battle of the now, actually, it'll be the last game.
Yeah, what are you going to title it,
It's going to be
Spencer?
the last game of the regular season because it has a later start. That'll be the
All right, you
want to
come up with a title for it? It can't be the Battle of Rutherford County.
It's Battle for first place in the MTAC South. That's a long name, but
That's a really long name. Let's shorten it. Hang on. Battle of. That's a teaser because we'll give you the
Battle of 24.
No.
Battle of 24.
No.
Because they're separated by I-24.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Battle of 24. He doesn't like
That's a
this.
teaser because we'll give you all the name Friday. There you go. And it won't be Battle of 24, Battle of two teams to see who's going to be first in the South.
Battle for first place in the MTAC South is what the current name is. We'll be live at 7:30. That'll be the final game
According
of
to
the
the Spencer
regular
Thompson
season that
index.
goes final. I don't have an index. I have
Yeah, you
I have
do.
a glossary. For James Shannon, thank you for tuning in to Extreme Radio, Battle of Franklin.
And JD Young.
And final game of the regular season will be there for Eagles and Knights. Adios, everybody.
See ya!